Where do you start? I know where I want to start. Matt Rule had Nebraska, well, the offense had Nebraska in position in the red zone after Gunnar Gattulla and Sayer Wright, two backups, saved the game. At least it felt like they saved the game at that point in the fourth quarter. Gattulla obviously fell on the fumble that, if it would have been recovered by Illinois, would have gone for a touchdown and completely ruined Nebraska. Sayer Wright obviously on defense. When the defense had nothing going tonight, I mean, they had a couple moments early on in the game, but in the second half, they were getting absolutely worked. I've got to talk about my first half thoughts because the game went so much different than how I thought it was going to go once we got to halftime. Picking up on Sayer Wright, he gets the strip sack. Nebraska gets the ball. They drive down. Dylan misses Luke Lindenmeyer, who's wide open for the touchdown in the end zone. Honestly, the play that probably would have won Nebraska the game, especially seeing as their defense had that final stop at midfield on that following drive. He bet on the backup kicker. And it wasn't just about the kicker. It's about, we know that the snapper, the holder, the kicker have all been a little bit of a liability. And he said, 4th and 3, I'm not going to trust our offense. I'm not going to trust Raiola, who at times in this game was looking like the best quarterback in the country. So he ends up going with the kick, and I wasn't surprised. It was like a 39-yarder missed. He relied on his defense at that point, and the defense somehow, after constantly making boneheaded mistakes and giving up free yards, nonsensical yards due to penalties and missed tackles and just being out of position, misunderstanding what their reader assignment was. I mean, it was a shit show, sloppy mess. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Illinois' offense is just that good or what the issue was. There were a lot of issues on defense. Tommy Hill not being there obviously hurt them as well. But regardless, he relies on the defense, and then we get to the overtime, and defense, who just had such a strong stand, couldn't bounce back to have a second stand. They gave up one 24-yard run, and then the next one obviously was a touchdown, and then the offense just totally broken at some point. I don't know how the offense looked so broken. I don't know what happened. We were all talking about Turner Corcoran this season, like, oh man, Turner Corcoran's going to give up the game. He would have made a big impact tonight, it seems, right? Gattulla had that what was it, false start at the end. That took him out of position. Then Raiola had pressure coming at him nonstop. Couldn't ever get anything going downfield. I mean, Nebraska had 3 key players who didn't start the game. They had Turner Corcoran, and I'm not blaming Nebraska not having 3 of their better players not playing, right? Yeah, Turner Corcoran, Micah Mazuka, and Tommy Hill, who got hurt with a head injury, who went out early. But it made Nebraska look like a mid-tier Big Ten team lined up against Illinois in the second half. Illinois, at halftime, looked like they were starting to get worn down. Nebraska, I think, took a 7-point lead going into half. And the defense started to get pressure. Illinois was trying to run the ball, couldn't. Nebraska was obviously making plays downfield, and things just felt like, okay, this is where the tide turns. This is where the Big Ten depth, the Nash Hutmaker, the Jamari Butler, the Ty Robinson start to wear on their offensive line and really turn it up a notch. And this is where Illinois is going to break. The depth that Nebraska has, the NFL star power they have, and against the no-names at Illinois, right, on the fronts at least, there would be a significant wear and tear element to the game. And my dad called me. My dad's sweating this entire game out because he's got 600 on Nebraska spread, right? So he's calling. He's like, what the hell's going on? He's getting frustrated. I'm like, look, you got to chill out. Second half team now. And then the second half, the opposite thing happened. Nebraska, the team who has the bigger bodies, the team who's better conditioned, the team who's more well-prepared, the team who has the home field advantage, the team who came in with more motivation, who's inspired beyond belief, who wants this win more than anybody in the entire world because they're all super seniors who stayed back to win this season. They got worn the hell down, and they just looked silly. And the bottom line is they just weren't the better team tonight. The classic Connor corn-crazed rant when Nebraska would lose games is, how the hell did they lose a game they were supposed to win? Raise your hand if you felt like Nebraska was supposed to win tonight. I mean, at times it felt like they were, but the better team, in my opinion, came out on top. Illinois, what did Luke Altmaier have? 21 of 27 for 215 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I mean, I know Nebraska's pass defense has its struggles, and they have some issues. Obviously, no Tommy Hill changes the dynamic, but 21 of 27 for 215 yards, and add on top of that, the Illinois rushing yards, got to 166. They didn't win the turnover battle. Nebraska had an interception, not Dylan's fault. It was Nayor's fault. And they had 2 fumbles, right? No, they had none. So Nebraska did win the turnover battle, I guess. Regardless, it doesn't even freaking matter. It's just they got outplayed. And there were some critical moments, and it felt like the offense, there was no way you could beat Raiola. And then it came down to Raiola can't do it on his own. And I'm not saying Raiola is this godly quarterback and he has no blame in this loss. Because like I said, the Lindenmeyer missed throw was an issue. He didn't see a couple receivers downfield. That would have completely changed the game. But the guys around him obviously didn't get it done. And I'm frustrated. It sucks to lose in this way. I don't look at this as Nebraska season's over. I don't look at it as, well, Nebraska lost to some shitty Illinois team who they were 8.5 points better than. Illinois looked like a really good team tonight. So I'm in this weird kind of feeling in my head where I'm like, well, I'm pissed off, I'm upset, but I can't be, who am I pissed off at? I'm pissed off that Nebraska played a team who was better than them. I think it's more shocking that Nebraska, they looked so much better against inferior competition. They seemed to have so much of a coaching staff advantage. And tonight, they got worked on every single front. They lost in special teams. They lost on defense. They lost on offense. Their coaching staff was better. Bielema's coaching staff was better. They caused more confusion. They caused more havoc. And Nebraska at times didn't have any pressure on Luke Altmaier. What was that about? Altmaier had 10 carries for 21 yards. How many sacks did Nebraska have? 1, 2, they had 2 sacks. 3, I guess. But it didn't feel like they had that many. I mean, they were sacks where Altmaier got back to the front line, right? He got back and it was like a 1-yard loss. It just felt like he had a lot of time. I'm still trying to process it. Like, how did we go from the first half, not looking dominant, but looking like they were in control of the game, to in the second half, completely unraveling? Illinois coming out with a better second half game plan, with more fire, with better play on both sides of the line. And Nebraska just couldn't keep up at home on such a significant night in such a major spot. What was the field goal? Why would you go for a 4th and 3, go for a field goal when you have a backup kicker and you have a liability at long snapper and holder? Why? I'm getting to chat. I have more questions than I do frustrations. I think maybe I have equal amount of frustrations as I do questions. I'm just disappointed at the way it was handled. I'm disappointed at the effort. I'm disappointed that I feel misled. I feel misled because I feel like the letdown in the second half was the opposite of what we've seen from Nebraska this entire season. It was the weakest effort. It was the most confusion. It was the sloppiest. It was just when Sherman went down and started punching the guy and got a penalty for that. He got a penalty for that, right? It was just, what are we doing? There were so many sloppy moments where they should have been Sayer Wright with the PI, which first start, what do you expect, right? First start at Nebraska, at least. There were just moments where it was like, man, this team wasn't playing this shitty these past few weeks. So why now? Why in the most crucial part of the game? The only answer I could possibly come to logically is, well, Illinois was just better, and Nebraska had to do what they could to keep up. Illinois was just working them. Jim, thank you for the 7-Eleven. He says, even with all the close losses in the last few years, I can't remember a more disappointing loss. A part of it is because Nebraska was expected to win. Part of it was because Nebraska, at times throughout the game, looked like they were going to win. The other part of it is Nebraska should have won if they would have kept up with the same effort, the same tenacity on defense, at least at the end of the second half, and the offense would continue to be fiery like they were with Dylan just hitting guys all over the field, receivers coming out and making plays that were unbelievable. Jamal Banks, my God, Isaiah Nayor, guys were making huge plays. Isaiah, man, what a hit or miss guy, right? You have so much upside, and then we've seen now back-to-back weeks the the huge penalty on the punt block, and which gave Northern Iowa a first down, and then the interception that completely changed the game. Not only did that interception that Nayor couldn't hold on to change the outcome of the game, that probably would have been the dagger at that point. Nebraska would have gone up, and I don't think Illinois would have been able to get back in. I think Illinois would have had to press it a bit more, and Nebraska's defense would have probably been more opportunistic and gotten a turnover. That singular play, you could say, defined the game. It was a major play for their corner. So shout out to him. It was an amazing interception. Back-to-back interceptions on Raiola these last 2 weeks were unbelievable. One arm, like pull-aways from these DBs who, those are just exceptional plays and just so rare to see. So it's hard for me to put the blame on Raiola, right? That was on Nayor, but just, fuck. All these comments about we suck again, that's all nonsense. Nebraska still looks like a 7 or 8 win team. Nebraska's schedule is still, manageable. But now when we're talking about, Connor, do you believe Nebraska can beat Ohio State? No. Do you believe Nebraska can beat USC? I still think they can play with them, but beat them? I don't know about that. Iowa? I don't know about that. It's just a lot more question right now, right? Because the team that we were so high on now looks like, okay, let's bring it back a notch. Let's get back to reality. The team that we thought would go and wear teams out in the Big Ten, the senior leadership, just the weight and the talent that Nebraska had up front on both sides of the line did not show up. At least not for half the game. There were moments where they did. Jamari Butler had some good pressure. James Williams did too. Nash, his moments tied, but it wasn't like they were dominating. Someone says overrated Raiola. Raiola had great moments. I don't know anybody calling Raiola overrated. The dude's a true freshman, went out there, was 23 of 34 for 284 yards, 3 TDs in the pick. Raiola, he had some moments where he slipped up, but Raiola had a great day. Anybody talking about Raiola is just nonsensical. They don't actually watch football. They're casual fans. They don't understand all of the nuance that goes into what it takes to score on offense. So, casual. Daniel, thank you for the $5 super chat. Lost again because of another missed field goal. Feel like I've seen this before. Oh, wait, I have. Yeah, if you're a Nebraska fan, you have seen it before, and it's the frustrating part. Why kick the field goal, Matt Rule? I would have felt so much relief if Nebraska would have gone for it and not gotten it and just felt like, damn, at least Rule made a good call, knowing and understanding his personnel, understanding field position. He's going to rely on the defense anyway. You're going to rely on the defense to come up clutch at the end of the game no matter what. So why risk the damn field goal? Wasn't a 20-yarder. Wasn't straight on. It was a 39-yarder or something. The backup field goal kicker. All the pressure in the world, tie game, top 25 environment. Why? Ronnie says, Dad just lost 600. Ronnie, the last thing my dad's worried about, $600. All the trolls in here talking about Nebraska, this, that, Nebraska's up. Nebraska feels great. Nebraska's still Nebraska. You could troll all you want. We feel good at Nebraska about the trajectory. We're in year 2 of Matt Rule. Nebraska wasn't expected to win 10 games this year. Nebraska wasn't expected to come in here and win every top 25 matchup. It's frustrating as a Nebraska fan to lose in a spot like this, but Nebraska's just building up. All that we're learning this season is that we're playing with house money. We're playing with a better quarterback than we could have asked for. We're playing with better defenders, and we're playing with better guys on offense who are super young and just coming up through the system. Nebraska's in the green, sir. The only thing Nebraska fans are worried about is these minor things like, man, it sucks that we lost when we were all high and excited. But that's not what we're worried about. This is a building year. It's year 2 for Matt Rule. We just want 7 wins. Nebraska's playing house money. You're crazy. Talking crazy in my chat. Nebraska fans are cool, bro. You're just looking for something to troll about because you got your own issues with your team. I want to know what your team had going on tomorrow or last weekend. Dylan, thank you for the $10 super chat. Stupid penalties. Kicking team needs help. Black shirts spilled bleach on themselves. I hate this feeling, but it's so familiar. I want to know what happened on defense. For example, Gifford, one of Nebraska's best defenders, totally out of position on the touchdown at the end of the game. Like, back turned around, like swiveling. It felt like that was happening nonstop. Guys just didn't know what was going on. I don't know if their offensive play calls were just legit or if they were so worried about Altmaier running the ball. I don't know if Sire, right, being new, he didn't know his call, so someone else had to overcompensate. I don't know how did the defense go from looking how it's looked to being as rough as it was tonight? The defense has some serious question marks. And the penalties, my God. Yeah, the penalty. Let's just look at the penalty stats. Nebraska penalty. Let me share the screen with you. This is just penalties, team stats. All right, Nebraska had 9 for 89 yards. Illinois had 3 for 20. They tie in the time of possession. I mean, Nebraska won the turnover battle and then win the rushing battle. Just, God, I don't even like to look at the penalty shit. Just nonsense. Like, why are you committing these stupid penalties? You're at home. Force them to commit the penalties. Force them to get rattled. There were a couple times where the crowd screwed off Illinois, and they're committing penalties because of it. Then Nebraska's over here just sloppy. Black Shirt says, swear we're the only team that never has a kicker. That's how it feels, doesn't it? I'm trying to scroll up in chat. Doug, thank you for the $5 super chat. Not only did we mess up defensively, the refs also missed several calls. Yeah, the refs missed a Nebraska call too, though. Nebraska had a face mask on Jamari Butler, I remember, and I was like, damn, Nebraska got away with that one. And that's just going to happen in football. You have to be better than the refs to win in college football because you will always have ref issues. You will have ref errors, and you'll never get the right side of the ref or the referee calls at the end of the day. In most cases, you won't be on the winning side. So you have to outplay the refs in the calls. 9 for 89 yards. You're blaming the refs. That's not a ref issue. That's a Nebraska issue. Because even if you took that out and said they were good refs, it would have been 6 for 70. Why is Nebraska losing 70 yards of field position because of penalties? That's their own fault. Sloppy. Doug, thank you for being a member. Braden says we made Altmaier look better than he is. Probably a little bit. He's not going to look like that against other Big Ten defenses. He's still good, but not that good. My chat's frozen. One sec. I got to scroll through. All right. Dre, thank you for the $5 super chat. Our coaches didn't adjust. Tony White got exposed. In my opinion, they need to get rid of Satterfield. Our offense looks dead in the second half. How much of it was the player execution? How much of it was Satterfield? There was a lot of player execution issues, right? There were missed passes. There were balls thrown behind guys. There were missed blocks. There was pressure not getting picked up. How much do you blame the offensive play call? How much do you play the guys who have to execute the game plan? At some point, you got to look at the players and say, that dude didn't do his job. I don't know. I was watching the game. I was emotional. I got to go back and rewatch it to really feel that out. But as it stands now, I'm going to say players didn't execute, and I don't have an issue with Satterfield. Tony White, on the other hand, there was a lot of misexecution on defense, right? But there was a lot of just out of position. Why are we playing single high safety deep when you have a strong run game coming downhill? What's going on with that? Do we have to protect because, like I said, you've got a backup corner in and you're afraid he might get burnt, so you have that protection? I don't know. It didn't look like a good defense, though. So Tony White is under question. Why? What happened tonight? The scheme got absolutely rocked by the opposing coaching staff. The other coaching staff is good. It's not like they're a bad coaching staff, but they aren't supposed to be on the same level as Nebraska. I'll tell you what, that $10 million and plus assistant pool that Nebraska's getting, they're not paying out at Illinois. I don't know how much Brett Bielema makes, but it's not that. Neither is his assistants. Yeah, that was frustrating. Denon, thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, let's remember what we thought this team was going to become what we thought this team was going to be coming into the year. And I think that's the main point. That's why I'm not devastated. I'm not heartbroken because Nebraska's playing with house money. If Nebraska started off 7-0 or, was 10-2 at the end of the year, whatever that was, that'd be all in the green. The expectation was 7 wins. So yeah, I still feel fine about this season. I was expecting to win 7 or 8. So they're still in the cards for 7 or 8. They lost to a top 25 team tonight who's 4-0 right now. Illinois is not a bad football team, but they were a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I'm going to be straight about that. I didn't think Illinois was going to be that good, but I also didn't think Nebraska was going to be that bad. The defense looked like shit. Kirby, thank you for the $2 super chat. Questionable ref thoughts. Yeah, I don't. The problem is there's always going to be questionable refs. There's always going to be missed calls. There's always going to be bad calls. There's always going to be nonsense that we see take place. Nebraska has to be able to overcome the ref nonsense. And if you are not good enough to overcome the refs, you're not good enough to win games. I'll tell you who doesn't care about the refs. Alabama doesn't care about the refs. Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, they fight through the refs. You know how they fight through it? They score 50. They hold guys on defense, and they never allow a team to score more than 17 points. It looked like at some point Nebraska was going to be that tonight. It looked like Nebraska was going to win this game, I'd say 35-17. At halftime, I felt like that was what's going to happen. I thought, coming out half, Dylan Raiola is going to be firing. Defense is going to stop these guys. Line's going to wear them down on both sides of the ball, and Nebraska is going to cruise. It looked like that was where this game was going. Nebraska had the bigger bodies, was wearing down on guys. In the second half, it started to crank, you thought. And then right when we got into the second half, it just, for no reason, starts unraveling. Is it a player execution issue? Is it a player size disadvantage? Is it Illinois had better players? Is it a coaching staff not making the proper adjustments? Again, I don't know the answer right now. I just watched the game, and I watched it from a very emotional lens with a lot of people calling me, asking me questions and shit, okay? I had a very, stressful night. I got to go back and look. But that's the question. Was it the players? Was it the coaches? Was it the adjustments? Was it the scheme? Was Illinois that good? I don't think Illinois was that good. Illinois is an 8-win team, okay? Maybe we say they're 8-win, maybe 9, but I don't think that's realistic. I think Illinois is more likely a 7-win, good team, not great, and Nebraska's got some things to look at on the inside. What went wrong in the locker room at halftime? Something went wrong. Because all we've heard about this team is about their conditioning, their strength, their will, and they didn't have any of that going on in the second half. None of it. It didn't exist. It looked like Nebraska teams of old. It looked like a 2022 Nebraska defense. No, 2020 Nebraska defense, or 2019, before they really got things together. It was just a sloppy mess. Vince, thank you for the $5 super chat. Tony White got exposed. Illinois read him like a book. Offense did enough to win. Could have had a 14-point swing if the interception goes our way with Dylan. Oh, and if Dylan hits the tight end. Nebraska should have won tonight. The interception should have been held on to by Nayor. The pass that was off by 3 yards to Luke Lindenmeyer in the end zone should have been on target. Dylan missed it by I don't know how much percentage of power he was off by. 2%. Take his arm strength and just limit it by 2%. Now would have hit for a touchdown game. Tony White did get exposed. Nathan says take some black shirts away and earn them back. I agree. Think Brad says 4-8 type season. No, that's ridiculous. Nebraska's still in position. Overreactions are just as bad, whether they're overreactions positively or overreactions negatively. And I have had my moments where I overreacted, but for the most part, we try to keep it logical here, right? And logically speaking, Nebraska still looks like a team who will beat Purdue next week, a team who will beat Rutgers, a team who will go and compete on the road at Indiana. And don't get me all started about Indiana, because I see all this shit about, Nebraska can't beat Indiana now. Indiana's done as much as Nebraska has at this point. If Nebraska played Illinois today, they would have got their ass kicked too. I bet on that. So I'm not worried about Nebraska not hitting 6, 7 wins, competing for 8. That's still in the cards. I'm not going to overreact. Today was frustrating. It was a BS loss. I blame it on partially the coaches. I blame it partially on player execution. And I cannot wait to hear the answers on who the coaching staff really thinks is at fault. I want to know if Matt Rule comes out and says, schematically, defense just didn't do their thing, or if it was players missed tackles, we got to clean XYZ up, guys didn't understand their assignments, whatever it is. I want to know who's accountable. Somebody needs to be held accountable, right? I want to know where they're going to grow from here. You have to know. Matt Rule, thank God he's transparent. He's an open book and he'll tell us. Regardless, they're still a good team. They're not great. We thought Nebraska had potential to be great this year. And I think today was a moment where we realized, okay, maybe now is not the time. Maybe it's a little bit early. And they're not great yet. Does that mean they couldn't be great this year? No. Does that mean Micah Mazuka, Turner Corcoran, and Tommy Hill could all come back and Nebraska couldn't win this game again if they played them in the Big Ten championship game? No. Is that going to happen? No. But you get my point. This was a game that could have gone either way. Nebraska didn't get dominated in any sense of that word. Games like this happen in the Big Ten. As we know, there are going to be Big Ten losses. Here's what I projected. I'll tell you. Before the season, I said Nebraska's going to Ohio State 6-1. You know who I said they'd lose to? Purdue. Just so happened they're not going to lose to Purdue. They're going to lose to Illinois, okay? My projection's still on pace. It's exactly what I expected to happen. So am I going to overreact and say this team's dog water? Am I going to say they're shit and I'm not going to watch them for the rest of the year? Oh, we're upset. And this is a team who has to grow. We're in year 2 with a new coaching staff. It's all good. We got a true freshman quarterback who's showing out. Are you crazy? Talking about, yeah, Nebraska's not everything we thought they were going to be and they could go 4-8 and I've seen this before and I'm done watching. Get out of here with the woe is me and the negativity. It's okay to be emotional, to be pissed off, to be frustrated, and vent just like I do, but it's not okay to overreact and then act like Nebraska's supposed to win 11 games this year as if they're Ohio State, and when they lose to a top 25 Illinois team, that they're a piece of shit. Come on! Give me a break. Let's go back to before the season when all you were talking about, win 6 games and I'm happy. Win 6 games and I'm happy. I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter tonight that I just thought was ridiculous. Oh, same old, same old. Nebraska's not letting us down again. What are you talking about? This was expected. This is the team we thought Nebraska was this year. This is the team you hoped for. I'll be happy with just a bowl game. It was me sitting here saying, I'm going to be disappointed if it's a bowl game. If I'm not talking crazy and setting these unrealistic new expectations of, oh, well, now Nebraska's going to only win 4 games, then why are you? Let me be your voice of reason. I'm sorry. It's just I see a lot of stuff and I get triggered by it. And then I see the comments and the negativity. I'm just like, okay, let's all calm down. I'm emotional right now. I was emotional before the game. I got teary-eyed before the game. Okay, I was so emotional. I went to the store today. I was in the Uber. I was watching the highlight little clip of the 400 sellout. And as a Nebraska fan, feeling so much joy and pressure for this game. And it was just everything was bottled up inside of me. I thought, Nebraska's got the team this year. Everything's going well. This is going to be such a fun game to watch. Even if they don't win, I know it's going to be competitive till the end. It literally got me teary-eyed in the Uber. The Uber driver looked at me like, what's wrong with him? He made a comment to me saying, is everything okay? And I didn't say anything, but I'm so bottled up as a Nebraska fan because all I want is competitive football. You know what I'm so happy about tonight? I got it at least. At least it wasn't a blowout. Yeah, they didn't look great, but at least it wasn't a blowout, and at least it wasn't something that I can go back and look at and be like, God, Nebraska sucks, and they're only winning 4 games this year. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic. I'm going to try and find the light at the end of the tunnel because everything Nebraska wants to accomplish is still on the table. Everyone Nebraska's got in position to help them succeed and get to that next level is still in line to do so. No big injuries. Nebraska's in position. So I'm not going to go on my typical Connor rant, the one from 2 years ago, the one from last year where I'm like, woe is us, and it's done, and we're just looking towards the future, who's the next hire, who's the next transfer. We got a good team right now. It's okay. It's frustrating. I'm emotional just like you are. It's okay, but we're not overreacting. Jackson, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says Huskers defense gets completely exposed and Nebraska will never have a good special teams. Okay. It's going to take a minute to have a special teams, huh? It's like 2019 was Barrett Pickering, or 2019. 2020 was Connor Culp. 2021 was Culp. Things started to go down from there. So 20, 21, 22, 23, and now we're in like 5 years of we cannot make field goals. I know I said I wouldn't overreact, and I don't even think this is an overreaction. Nebraska might never be good at special teams. This is accurate, Jackson. That's fair. Thank you for the $20 super chat. You're right. At this point, how can we say Nebraska will ever have good special teams? This is insanity. If you could make the argument, well, Tristan Alvano's the starting kicker. He wasn't out there. And what? He would have made it? You think Tristan Alvano would have made a 39-yard field goal with all that pressure? Didn't matter who was back there. They do not have a kicker. It's crazy. And not taking shots at the kicker. It's just that whole unit. It's the holder, it's the kicker, it's the snapper. That whole unit, that 3-piece right there, they're all failing. And I don't know who's to blame. Is it Ed Foley? Is it the personnel? What is going on? And why is it taking 5 years to fix? The reason I don't vent on it or vent about it too much is because what's me venting going to do? They're not about to go get one of the Illinois kickers who makes their kicks. They're not about to do that right now. We got to wait till the end of the season. So it's like, man, at one point, we're going to lose a game off special teams. I said that last week. What happened tonight? Nebraska lost off special teams. Taylor says, I don't understand how they scored 3 times on a tight end sneak pass to the right side and we don't have anyone near him. That's a scheme issue. Or it's a player being out of position and not knowing his role. That's the question I want the answer to. Who is to blame for that? I don't want to blame someone. I'm not out here trying to hold a pitchfork and be like, he sucks, get him out of here and move on to someone else. It's not that. It's that I want to know who's got room to grow. Who needs to be swapped out or who needs to get helped so they can come in to be a better player or a better coach. That was really pissing me off. That whole tight end sneak around into the end zone and just a little dump off. Rod, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says secondary got a bit exposed. Still in love, GBR. Rod's reasonable. Rod had 7-win, 6-win expectations. And he said, no matter how this season goes, if they meet my expectations, I'm going to be happy. So he rode the high and he got some new expectations just like us. He thought, maybe this team can win 9. But he's not going to let one loss deter him, and now he's going to throw away the season just because one team who was in the top 25 came in and beat Nebraska by 7 in overtime. Reasonable, Rod. I appreciate you and your logical mindset, and I'm on the same page as you. Panda Puncher, thank you for the $2 super chat. Good news, Tony White won't be getting any offers. Tony White's going to be getting offers because the defense that looked like shit tonight will not look like shit next week. And then after that, they're going to tighten up again. So the defense tonight being an anomaly is not what the defense is. I agree. Tonight was questionable. It looked like a mess, but I don't believe that Nebraska is going to maintain that level of low-level play. That's ridiculous. Tony White's going to be gone at the end of the year. And if he's not, then that'd be crazy. If Nebraska now says, okay, well, our defense looked fantastic for the last year and the first 3 games of this season, but now they're just trash, I'll wear a hat that says dunce. The other Dave, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, luckily, I bet the first half -4.5 and won 300. Pissed we lost. Still coming to Nebraska versus USC and taking my kids to Disney in November. Disney's fun. Not for an adult man who's single, but it's fun for guys with kids and girlfriends. I won tonight on Prize Picks big. A lot of us did. Prize Picks was huge for us tonight. We all wrote the plays in Discord. So shout out Prize Picks winners because I'm getting tons of DMs. $300, $400 winners. It's awesome. I lost the full game spread, but I won huge on props, on receiver props and running back props. So I actually had a positive night after hammering -8.5. Good. We talk about how good teams win, great teams cover. Nebraska tonight at 8.5 actually would have hit if Nebraska would have just had the first half, or was it the second half? The interception play turned into a touchdown. I truly believe the game would have changed at that moment. I think the defense would have been in a different position. I think their offense would have been pushing the ball down more, and I think Nebraska would have won, and they would have won comfortably. That one play was such a defining moment, and that's why you talk about turnovers changing games. That's why turnovers are so important, right? That's why DBs who can make plays like that are so coveted in the NFL and in college, because plays like that change the entire outcome. Manuel, thank you for the $10. He says Illinois made some mistakes in the first half. Illinois made a lot of mistakes in the first half. Illinois had a fantastic adjustment in the second half. And Luke Altmaier only got better as the game went on. The running game only got better as the game went on. Their front lines only got better as the game went on. And that was the most disappointing and frustrating part. Why is your O-line, Nebraska, and your D-line, Nebraska, getting dominated by an inferior unit on both sides of the ball? It didn't make any sense. Z-Guy says it's not the calls made, it's the calls missed. It's both, right? And that's what my point was earlier when I talked about the calls. You're going to have no calls. You're going to have bad calls, but you have to be able to play through it. The way you win games is by dominating. And if you don't dominate, you lose in situations like this, right? You have to play better than the calls are going to give you. Doug, thank you for the $5 super chat. Also, I think MJ Sherman was hitting the ball and not the Illinois player. I hope so. That was ridiculous. Did that turn into a penalty? I think it did either way. Whatever that play was. That was weird. I hope you're right that it was the ball and not the play, because that was giving me weird vibes. I was like, MJ Sherman's such a good dude. I love hearing him talk. He's like a really honest, nice person. So for him to act like that was, that didn't seem like Nebraska football to me. That was like, okay, on top of us losing and looking like shit, now watching one of our star players, star leaders come out here and act like that, like what? So hopefully you're right about that. I'm gonna go back and look. Ethan, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate the support. Jose says linebackers were too slow in zone and playing spy too much. Yeah, I felt like a lot of guys were slow. Felt like a lot of the defense was just not getting to their spots. Evanception, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, stings for sure. Those OT drives were absolutely pathetic. No fight. Moreover, we can't get upset with the kicker without getting upset with Dylan for missing a wide open receiver. Still believe in this team, though, GBR for life. You know, Dylan had his freshman moment tonight. He had multiple freshman moments tonight. It's funny, I tweeted out, I don't even remember what I tweeted. I said something about all the nonsense talk about Dylan being a freshman and having a freshman moment. That's all quiet now, which it was in the first half. Dylan looked incredible. And then the second half with immense pressure in his face, the fumbles, back to back on the same drive, not getting the ball out quick enough, not finding his receivers who were open at times. There were just moments where you're like, he's legit. He's going to be amazing. But now he's playing real football. And he didn't face that pressure. He didn't face those moments in these first couple games. Today, his eyes were open. And, you know, Matt Rule is going to talk about, I guarantee Matt Rule is going to say this. He's going to take the film and he's going to learn from it. And it's going to make him a better player because of it. And it's absolutely true. But it's still frustrating that on a night when he played so spectacular to start it off, he couldn't finish it out and earn the win that it looked like he deserved. It wasn't just Dylan. It was the team around him. Like I said, the interception wasn't Dylan's fault. And if that one play would have gone for a touchdown, it would have changed the outcome of the game. If Gunnar Gatula wouldn't have jumped in the beginning of the overtime when Nebraska had the ball, that would have changed Nebraska's field position, and it would have changed Satterfield's options for calling plays. Dylan is to blame for parts of it. Obviously, he gets all the credit when they win and all of the negativity when they lose, all the blame when they lose. But Rhett, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, what's been consistent the past decade is that most teams we have played are better coached. Tonight was a prime example. Feels like a giant step backwards. It's so true. Tonight definitely felt like the other coaching staff knew exactly what they wanted to do. They knew how to attack Nebraska, and they did it in a spectacular way. And it wasn't even that they played a complete game. It wasn't that they coached that way in the first half. But for the entirety, they figured out a way to have the edge. And at the end of the game, when it mattered the most, they had their team in position to win, and Nebraska couldn't get out of their own way. And they couldn't save themselves when everything was going to shit. Dylan, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, props to you for jumping on again and again. Win or lose, we appreciate you. Frustrating loss, but I'm still naive enough to believe. Hey, you're not naive for believing. We set expectations on this year, and those expectations can't change just because we saw something different when things started, right? The expectations stay the exact same, just like my bet stays the same. When I put $100 on Nebraska over 7.5, I don't get to change those odds just because Nebraska started off 3-0. The payout doesn't change. So my expectations for this team aren't changing. If they win 8 games, it's a productive, happy, exciting season leading into the next. We were playing with house money, right? It's frustrating. It's unfortunate. It's a reality check. But it's not something that's going to hold me back from thinking, well, Nebraska can't still accomplish all the goals that me and Dylan have for them. You and I still believe Nebraska get to the Big Ten championship game, right? There is a world where that happens. Nebraska can bounce back. Nebraska can get healthy. They can bring back 3 starters who didn't play for a majority of the night, and they can go out and dominate in some of these games over the next few weeks. That all still exists. College football, what people love to do, they overreact. You know what people love to do week 1? Oh my God, Georgia Tech just beat a top 10 Florida State team. Georgia Tech is so good. Georgia Tech is a 10.5 point dog to Louisville tomorrow. Georgia Tech, who? The overreactions early in the season are stupid. We don't know who Illinois is. We don't know who Nebraska is. Illinois could be one of the best teams in the Big Ten right now. We're looking back like, damn. Illinois was a lot better than we thought they were. So I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to change my expectations. I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to get frustrated and emotional when we lose, just like I always do, but I will never let it sway me, and it shouldn't sway any of you. This team has everything that we want to see. They've got good coaches who like to grow. They've got players who are being developed, and they're going to make the season fun for us, and that's the bottom line. This is entertainment. We're getting a show. Tonight we got a show. It sucked. It didn't go our way, but at least we got the value. I sat there for 2.5 hours or 3.5 hours, whatever it was, and I felt like I got what I wanted out of it. If they wouldn't have showed up, and if they would have looked like a Scott Frost team, and they would have had boneheaded plays all the way through, I would have come here yelling, screaming, kicking my feet. What the hell is going on? Just like I used to. But I don't have to do that anymore. Now I can react logically because there's competence in place. There are good players in place. There aren't the same stupid mistakes. There were dumb mistakes tonight. There were mess ups. Yes. They got outcoached. They got outplayed. That's going to happen to Nebraska. This is not the last time that is going to happen. There will be seasons where they're expected to get to the playoff, and that type of thing is going to happen. They're going to lose games that way. Happens to Ohio State. Happens to all the best teams. So, yeah, I'm not wavering. It's all good. Think logically. I'm emotional, but I'm still being logical. I'm getting to the chat, guys. I know I got a lot of super chats. It's okay. I got to Dre. Wait. Oh no. I gotta do this one from Dre. Dre, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, I get everything you're saying. We're overreacting, but I'm just at the most disappointed in our defense. This was just flat out a bad performance. And yeah, I agree. It looked like trash. It did not look like what Nebraska's defense has shown the first 3 games of the season. It doesn't look like the defense they were last year. The problem is it didn't look like they had heart. There was one drive when they did have heart. It was the last drive of the game, and they came out, they made their tackles, they had great stops, the defensive line got pressure, it was awesome. But outside of that, it was consistent in giving up yards. Tyler, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, numb to the pain at this point. Time to learn from this. And if they learn from this game and bounce back, we've made the progress we want. And I'm a believer, and I'm buying into the idea that they will. Matt Rule is playing with how many freshmen right now? How many new players, young guys who are underclassmen, are playing significant roles? You watch Luke Lindenmeyer at tight end tonight, who went for the game-winning touchdown, essentially. He has never been in that position before. So you've got a bunch of guys who are playing roles that they haven't gotten to be in yet. And because of that, there are learning moments. Dylan has a ton to learn from in this game. He fumbled it twice in the last 2 minutes of the game. He missed a lot of his reads in the most crucial times when the offense had to get points. I'm not worried about it, just like you. And to be honest, I'm a little numb to the pain too. We've seen the worst. People are texting me crazy. I guarantee it. Look at this. It's all Nebraska stuff. Just all of this is Nebraska. All of it. 19 messages. That's just since I turned on this stream. And 19 different people talking about just Nebraska. And it's not like most of it's good. Most of it's just negative, just talking shit. Like, oh, I told you Nebraska sucked, da-da-da. All the nonsense, right? But I'm a realistic fan, and I'm not going to get all excited like they are. I'm just going to say, hey, take a breath, and it's all good. We're going to grow from this point. Pros. Dylan looked good. Wide receivers looked a bit better. Man, talk about wide receivers looking better. Jamal Banks, my God. Isaiah Nayor at times, my God. Nebraska has weapons downfield for him, and if he can find them, they got the bodies to box dudes out and make big plays. The one reception that was just... Ramir Johnson, touchdown. Ramir steps out of bounds. He didn't have good field awareness in the end zone, and Raiola hit him a little late. That would have been a game changer. They had to settle for a field goal. Fedoni and Nelson look good. Fedoni did look good. Fedoni has some good catches. Nelson always looks good. Cons. Defense looked out of position. DB soft in coverage. Slow to react to passes. Little pass rusher pressure. And that was the biggest issue of the night. The defensive backfield has had its issues. The secondary has crumbled, and we've seen it happen before. But that hasn't been what broke Nebraska. Because you know what they have up in the front seven? They've got a guy like John Bullock, who John Bullock in the first half looked spectacular. Making plays on the ball, getting his hand on the quarterback's face. I mean, we've seen tons from the linebackers, right? But the front line, Jamari, Nash, James Williams, Cam Lenhart, Nash, Ty, they did not get the pressure that we're used to seeing. And that changed the game. because now you have a liability secondary who's had its issues without their number one corner, one of their single digits, one of their best players on defense. They're working with a new guy in there with them, and their front seven isn't stepping up for them, and they're not carrying the weight. And Nebraska knows that that's their strength. Ty, Nash, Jamari, Cam, those are the guys who have to step in and help the secondary, and tonight they couldn't do it. At least not consistently. Trenton, what is this? Screw this team? Come on. The Happy Hermit with a fact of tonight. You were 8.5-point favorites. Correct. I bet on it. I remember. Rod, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, love your passion, love this team, still love Nebraska GBR. You know, Rod embodies what it is to be a Nebraska fan. He's at every game. He supports Nebraska fans. He makes sure that no matter what happens, he still keeps a level head because he sees this week in and week out. You know, Rod has the benefit of being a few years older than me. So Rod's seen the good. Rod has seen the bad. You know, he knows it's okay. Take a breath. It's just a sport. It's just an entertainment. And we're not going to overreact in moments like this. So Rod, thank you for being level-headed, keeping me calm. I am passionate. That's a good way to describe it. Mason says, for close games like this, I feel like officiating has to be consistent. They favored Illinois the whole game. I think a lot of us feel that way, and it's just officiating in college football is a mess, and it needs to be changed. There's a lot of issues going on with officiating. Josh Pate made a great video about it the other night on his show. You guys should go look it up. Type in Josh Pate officiating or officials, refereeing, whatever, and it'll pop up. And he talks about it. It's like, damn, Nebraska, all these schools in the Big Ten versus all these schools in the SEC versus all these schools in the Big 12. Every officiating crew has different rules they have to abide by based on the conference. And if they had more consistency across the entire board, it would give teams a better chance to not commit as many penalties. But until they get that all corrected and sorted out, we're going to see issues with officiating. And going back to what I said before, you have to outplay the officials. Win by 50, naturally. And then officiating can hurt you and you only win by 25 or only win by 20. But when you dominate, you will never have to worry about officiating. You play through it. There wasn't enough bad officiating tonight to make me say, well, that was the reason Nebraska lost the game. No, Nebraska lost the game because of coaching and execution. Player execution and coaching lost Nebraska the game, not officiating. And keep in mind, I've been here. I sat here and I've blamed officiating before. Not fully, but I do have moments where I acknowledge officiating was one of the contributors to the loss in that game. And I don't feel that way tonight. Denon, thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, if Colorado fans can recover, we can too. LOL, JK. Colorado fans are icky. That's hilarious. Colorado fans bounce back. Think about that. Colorado fans were down bad after Nebraska. They were down tremendous. Such an embarrassing way to lose. And just everything that they had said before the game all got just shoved back into their face. And then you know what happened? They bounced back. They beat Colorado State. And now they're all back out talking trash on Twitter to Nebraska fans. So look, it's one night where we're all venting. I know I'm in the same boat. It's an emotional day. I'm telling you, I was teary-eyed before the game. Like, I really was in my feelings over this. And it's draining, especially watching your team lose in the fashion Nebraska did, feeling like that game was theirs to win. Mike, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, I won't blame the officials as we had several chances, but wow, some huge missed calls. Yeah, it's the way it is, you know? Again, I know there were missed calls. I watched missed calls. But I also watched Nebraska play bad football. I watched Nebraska play sloppy and earn penalties. So I'm like, man, if they would have just not done that, the missed calls wouldn't have mattered. Jerry, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, D lost the game, but go Big Red. We will come out on top. That's a fact. That's the bottom line. I appreciate you. Brad says, how did we make Luke Altmaier look like an NFL QB? Well, just so you know, Luke Altmaier is potentially an NFL QB. He was a 4-star recruit out of high school. He was recruited to play for Ole Miss and behind Jackson Dart with Lane Kiffin. He was obviously developed there. He couldn't start over Jackson Dart, who's a potential Heisman contender, potential national championship level quarterback this year, and a first top 5 draft pick of this next draft. So Luke Altmaier leaving there and going to Illinois is not because Luke Altmaier is not a good player, but it's because he needed a different situation that would allow him to thrive and play sooner. Luke Altmaier is a good quarterback. Luke Altmaier has obviously a good receiving core, and he is going to be in position to be a drafted quarterback. So I can't hate on Luke Altmaier. Luke Altmaier is a good QB. Tonight he showed it. The last 3 weeks he's shown it. Last year, there were times where he showed it. That's not a bad QB. So they made him look like an NFL QB because he is one. That's that. My chat's frozen. You guys are firing chats tonight. Jacob, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate you and the support. You're always here. All of our goals are still ahead of us. Illinois is a good football team. Tony White needs to step it up. Big Ten has figured him out. Satterfield was in his bag. Those refs better not step back in the state or it's on site. Okay, so here's the deal. Tony White does need to step it up. I don't know if the Big Ten hasn't figured out. I think there were times tonight where the defense just looked like they got worn down. And so how much of it is Nebraska's defensive front just got beat, and how much of it is they were schematically beaten by the other coaching staff? I don't know that answer. I'm interested to know. I haven't watched Matt Rule's press conference. I'm sure some of you have it on or have watched it. But yeah, I don't know if the Big Ten hasn't figured out. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Tonight he got work, though. Satterfield was in his bag. Satterfield took some shots. Satterfield has some really good play calls. There were some player execution issues, and that's why I'm not blaming Satterfield at all for tonight. There were some times where you could say, well, shoot, Nebraska missed. They could have had a different play here, but bottom line is the offense was getting after it, and there were minor moments. There's three. Let's just point to three. Touchdown in the end zone to Nayor, dropped, went for an interception. And people said, oh, well, no, it shouldn't have been. He had possession in the end zone. No, he didn't have possession. It was like he had the ball and he started to tuck it. And then as he started to tuck it, it got ripped out. Clear interception, in my opinion. Next play. Ramir Johnson in the end zone, had to settle for a field goal. That's 3 points right there. Next play. End zone to Lindenmeyer, overthrown. So all of those were good plays and good play calls by Satterfield. Can't blame him. It was missed opportunities by Ramir Johnson, by Dylan Raiola, and by Isaiah Nayor. Lost War, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says your message is restricted. I can't open it, but I'll respond to a comment if you pop one in. Z-Guy says no holding calls. Our D-line doesn't get holding calls, even though Ty trucks through and gets hooked every 5 to 6 plays. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the holding rule is, but it's every single week, right? I don't know if they changed the rule. I don't know why refs don't call it, but Nebraska does not get those calls. So I've come to expect those are not holding penalties because Nebraska, I promise you, is calling the league office, the Big Ten, whoever, and rules saying, hey, look at this. Ty Robinson's getting his shirt pulled and Nash Hutmaker can't get through. What's going on? We need these calls. Because I promise you Matt Rule is doing that. He's watching the film just like we are, right? The games. I mean, we're watching and we see it. If they're not calling it, then for whatever reason, it doesn't count as a hold. I don't know. Maybe they changed the rule or what they look for. But yeah, it's nonsense. It's frustrating to watch, and I don't know the answer. Logan, thank you for the $10 super chat. He said, Rule talks about being tough, but this team is soft, got pushed around up front, take the black shirts away. I'm most upset about how undisciplined we were, but it'll always be GBR. I love the positivity at the end. I'm not opposed to taking the black shirts away. You got to make the guys earn it every week. I think that the players would rather have the black shirts be taken away than to be wearing them when they don't deserve to do so, right? It'd be like wearing a $100,000 watch when you can't afford to buy the $100,000 watch. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm just fronting over here. I'm not actually that guy. So yeah, take the black shirts away. I agree with you. They did get soft, or they did get pushed around. They did look soft. It's hard to argue with that. The undisciplinedness in the penalties. Jason says Bielema just had his interview, and he said that they decided at halftime to intentionally pressure Raiola. And yeah, that was they've got their arm in Dylan's face like this, and Dylan's still hitting balls downfield. I mean, all you could do was pressure him. That's the only way you could beat him. And the offensive line either the offensive line just couldn't get it done, or the defensive coverage was on top and blanketing Nebraska's receivers, so he couldn't get the ball out. There were multiple times where Raiola just couldn't get the ball out. He had no shot. Either he was afraid to throw the pick, or the coverage sack would just let the defensive front get in and pressure him and take him down. So it's just Denon, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says MJ was def punching the ball. Ball carrier was on another player and not down. Even though the whistle was blown, he wasn't visually down. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I gotta go back and watch still, but yeah. Kyle says a ranked team. Don't act like Illinois is some juggernaut. We're garbage. And that is a classic overreaction. Kyle, thank you for being a member. Thank you for overreacting and giving me something to say and talk about. But this is the type of comment that's ridiculous. That's a casual take. It's casual and you know it's casual. So why are you saying it? What people love to do is they love to say if a team isn't a legitimate top 10 team in America, they aren't good. My friends do that shit all the time. Oh, well, Nebraska's ranked 22. They're not that good. Well, they're a good football team. They just aren't top 10 in the country. Yeah, but they're not like Ohio State. What are we comparing this to? There are 25 slots in the AP poll for a reason. There are fucking 60 bowl games that teams play for a reason. Not every team is loaded with NFL potential and $10 million coaches and can go the distance and can produce the level of wins that Nick Saban, Ryan Day, Urban Meyer, all these superstar coaches are doing right now. So let's not overreact and then say if you're not top 5 in the country, you're not good. That's absolutely absurd. Kyle, you know it. You know it. Kyle, I'm triggered by your name because my friend's name is Kyle too. He does the same thing to me. He does the same thing. It's always, well, Raiola's not that good. He's not a Heisman contender. So he's not good. Illinois is good. Illinois looked good today. Illinois is 4-0 and they just came into Nebraska and won in a hostile environment. No, Illinois is not a top 10 team, but Illinois is a good team. Illinois is going to be a top 20 team next week. And who do they play next week? Penn State? Promise you this, they're going to compete with Penn State. Say what you want. That's not a bad football team. It's ridiculous when we go and put these ridiculous casual statements out there. And I know you know it's a casual statement. That's why I'm calling you out on it. Jerry, thank you for the $10 super chat. Still believe. We have a great QB with a lot of potential. Facts. Our QB is a freshman. Double facts. He is going to make mistakes. Triple facts, and it will make him better. Quadruple facts. I love that. Jerry, I love that comment because it's indicative of when you see these situations that he's going to grow and he's going to make sure that when he goes back and reads that film, watches that film, takes his notes, learns how to be a better QB, that today will make him better for it. The failures and the struggles that we go through life build us up into something greater. And Dylan Raiola is 18 years old, 19 years old, whatever he is. He's playing in his very first Big Ten game against NFL defensive backs, not NFL level coaches, but NFL level players at least, and coaches who make millions of dollars a year to learn how to stop players like him. He's 18 or 19. Today was a learning moment, and today will only make him better. And so I like your logic. I like your reasoning. I appreciate it. And Matt Rule and him are both going to talk about this in their press conferences this week. They're going to say, more film for us to learn from. Great opportunity for Dylan. He had some great plays. He has plenty to learn from. And we're going to keep it pushing from here. And I think that's the positive. And I appreciate you for the level-headed comments. Vince, thank you for the $2 super chat. Who told Rule to use the challenge on that? Dumb. Someone gave him bad advice. I'm assuming it was someone in the box. And yeah, dumb waste of a timeout. He's referring to the challenge call when someone, a running back or a tight end, got up on the sideline for Illinois and had an extra like 3 or 4 yards gained, I think, to getting him inside the 5-yard line into the red zone. And Illinois obviously scored on the very next play. But they thought he might have stepped out, which would have cost them 3 or 4 yards. It would have given Nebraska's defense, 4th and 6 instead of 4th and 2. And yeah, that was a dumb waste of a timeout. Spark, thank you for the $2 super chat. Same movie, same results. It has to end somehow. I don't think it is the same movie and the same results. Actually, it's not the same movie and the same results. Nebraska had an offense this time. Nebraska defense was the culprit. They gave up 31 points. Usually it's the offense who can't score enough, not the defense who can't hold them to that. So I think same result, but it's not the same movie. It's a different movie. And I think that's the positive that I take away from this. There is growth. There are setbacks, but at the end of the day, I'm seeing it all trend in the right direction. So you're going to always see losses. There's never going to be a year where Nebraska goes undefeated. There might be, but it's really tough to go undefeated in the new landscape of college football. So, yeah, just is what it is. I'm not going to say this is the same old, because it's not. It doesn't feel like the same old to me. I just missed the super chat. I have to scroll back up. It was from Galactus. Where is it? Damn, Galactus, I missed your super chat. I'm going to go back through it. Let me pull up. You know what? I don't want to miss super chats. So I'm going to close my pop-out chat. And I'm going to open my other one. Give me a sec, guys. Close pop out. Dude, the chat is so crazy tonight that just scrolling through it is a nightmare. Damn. There's some super chats that went away that I can't open. Sorry, guys. Let me see if this opens. I gotta relink it. Let me relink this really quick. The chat goes so fast. I gotta respond to these super chats quicker. I'm gonna start going faster on super chat replies because I don't want to miss people's super chats. I like to respond to every single one, you know. Sam, thank you for the $5. He says 2-19 in three last 23 one-score games. I just don't get how it's statistically possible. Yeah, Nebraska loses in close games. It's just they haven't gotten over the hump. I think they put up a stats tonight where Nebraska's like 1-6 and Illinois was 6-2. Well, now Nebraska's 1-7, Illinois 7-2. Some teams are better at winning and finishing in the closing moments. Like I said, Matt Rule is in year 2 of a rebuild. There were obvious issues that Nebraska has to build back from, and it is what it is. Jacob, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says there are 134 teams in FBS. Illinois is number 24. They are in the top 17%. Facts, Jacob. Hit him with the facts. For the uninitiated, they're better than 83% of the country. They are good. Facts. Hit him, Jacob. That's right. Somebody's got to come out here and double down on this shit. When people are talking crazy, we got to check them. Wyatt, thank you for the $2 super chat. We smack per don't and get back on track, GBR. I am not worried about this season. Nebraska is going to win next week. They're going to be in position to win the very next week after that against Rutgers, and then after that against Indiana. Nebraska has all of their goals still ahead of them. I feel great about it. We're on the same page, brother. What was the last one I read? Mose, thank you for the $5 super chat. This game wasn't on Dylan. There were moments where it was on Dylan. This was on the defense. I agree with that. Strip the black shirts and have them come back hungry next week. And I think, you know, it's not a discipline thing. It's an earn it thing. It's a let's wear these when we earn it and when we deserve to. I promise you, Isaac Gifford doesn't want to be walking around with a black shirt right now knowing that he performed the way he did this week. I promise you. A lot of those defenders are going to be like, nah, that doesn't honor who the black shirts are and what it is. It's a special thing to wear that. And this week wasn't black shirt defense. I agree with you. Noah, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, can't remember the name, but one of the defensive backs said they knew they weren't playing to their full potential at half. For sure, a game to learn. Yeah, I got to watch the press conference and hear what they have to say because I'm sure they know. I mean, they could feel it. They felt and looked out of position. Mike, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, what happened to Hill? They did not say in the game. I thought they said head injury, or someone said head injury. Maybe someone texted me that. Regardless, Hill going out was a massive blow to Nebraska. And Sayer Wright had a penalty. Obviously, he had a couple big plays. He had a stop on, I think, 3rd and 8 or something in the end zone. And then he had, obviously, the big strip sack. But regardless, Hill is a huge loss. And I felt like that could have been a game changer for the defense tonight. But I don't know what the head injury is or how bad it is. I'm assuming it's just like a concussion, you know, which sucks, but at least it's not a knee injury or something crazy. Steel sharpens steel, and we can't get better playing weaker teams. Facts. We won't know our flaws if we're never challenged. Got humbled tonight, GBR, and that's the bottom line. Nebraska got humbled tonight. They were challenged by a team who came out to play. Nebraska and Illinois are very similar in terms of level of talent, in terms of coaching, clearly, and Nebraska just got beat. Illinois was the better team. Either team could have won this game tonight. It came down to heart. Illinois wanted it more. Illinois played stronger football at the end of the game. Cobb Smack, thank you for the $5 super chat. Oof, 25 straight losses against ranked opponents, but it doesn't feel like an implosion like in past years. Just a sloppy loss to a better team, GBR, and that's what I'm saying. The past, the same movie that we always see, the gross ways Nebraska would find ways to lose game. They were just so painful. Tonight, they lost to a team who played good football, and it didn't hurt as bad because it's like, okay, Nebraska didn't look great, but we know they could look better. So there is going to be a better day for Nebraska next Saturday and the Saturday after the next. It's just this week wasn't their freaking time. It's frustrating, but yeah. James, thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you for being a member. Still chasing threes. How do we overcome this? You know, it's funny. The team isn't chasing three anymore, but the field goal kickers are chasing threes. It's It's simple. You have to get the right kicker in the room. Just like Nebraska had to get the right quarterback in the room. They got the quarterback thing solved. Now you got to get the right kicker. Yeah, chasing threes. Just how can we not get the right kicker? It's so painful. I'm getting back to the super chat, so I got to scroll up. Benjamin says, think they're in full pads Sunday. You know, I don't think so. I don't think this is that type of game. Nebraska just got beat, you know? Yeah. Nebraska's going to lose games. It's not a bad thing to lose games. The problem is when you play like shit like they did against Michigan last year and don't show up. But today they showed up. They just got beat. Nathaniel, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, of all the close loss games, this hurt the most. I don't know. This one didn't hurt me the most. The ones that hurt the most are the ones that they shouldn't lose. Tonight, they should have lost. They deserve to lose. It's like, okay, if you are going to be the better team and come in and beat Nebraska, respect. I don't know any other way to say it. I'm not a hater. I'm not a negative person. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Nebraska just lost. Nebraska lost to a good team. So I don't feel bad about it. Rhymes with laughter. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for the $5 super chat. He says, for the algorithm, GBR. You're so consistent with the algorithm, bro. I appreciate it. You know, trying to grow the channel over here. Hill has plantar fasciitis. I don't know what that is. Someone's talked. Oh, here we go. Plantar fasciitis is inflammation in the foot, for those wondering. Kyle, thank you for clarifying, because I didn't know that. So Kyle coming to the rescue, helping me out, and I'm sure a bunch of other people in the chat. Yeah, foot, not being able to have your foot during a game being full strength, that's a problem. And I understand why he wasn't out there playing. Painful. Needed him, but it is what it is. Discmaster, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, a lot of freshmen playing. I'm excited for the future. This is only year 2 GBR. That's the bottom line. It's a rebuild. We're in the middle of a rebuild, and we're playing in top 25 matchups, and we're playing like we want to win the game. That's all I can ask for. I feel great about it. I'm on the same page as you, brother. GBR is right. Christian, thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says we need to win these close games. It has to change. And eventually it's going to change, right? But we're in year 2 of a rebuild. Time's coming. There are a lot of players who are on that field who don't have very much experience. And I'm telling you, we're going to look back on this, you know, I don't know at what point, but at some point we're going to be sitting here together, same environment, same red lights behind me, same microphone. And I'm going to be talking about whatever I'm talking about. And it'll be a positive spin. And it will be, hey, do you guys remember when I sat down and I talked about that Illinois game after Nebraska thought they were going to win it, coming out of the half, looking great, up 7, and then things unraveled? Well, guess what? Now Nebraska's da-da-da. We're going to go on to the whole spiel about how Nebraska's fixed their issues, and we all feel good. It's going to come. It's not here yet, but it's going to come. Strange. Thank you for the $10 super chat. We got killed on the RPO. Killed. Annihilated. Had no adjustments, poor defensive play, bad discipline when it came to penalties, terrible special teams, questionable play calls killed this game. You know, I don't know what the questionable play calls were on offense. I think the field goal was a questionable play call. There might have been a couple run plays that were questionable. But in general, I felt like the game plan on offense was okay. The defensive play and the defensive play calls, yeah, I agree with you. What the hell was going on? And then special teams, giving up a big punt return. I don't remember what their field goal situation was. Did they have a lot going on field goals? Let's do a little screen share real quick. Illinois box score. Returns. They had 60 yards in punt returns with 1 for 37. Kick returns, they had 3 for 59, 1 for 24. So they dominated in special teams because they hit 4 extra points and 1 field goal. Nebraska hit 3 extra points, 1 field goal, and missed 1. Game changer. Nebraska did have the edge in punting, but you know what the problem was? Illinois was never punting. Didn't feel like they were punting, at least. Yeah. Strange, I agree with you, though. Thank you for the support. All right. Someone please ban this freaking guy. I'm going to do it. Who's Mike Madden? If someone's a mod, boot this clown. Like I see constant comments that are just like I don't need a 12-year-old in my comment sections. This is an adult chat. Like these are adults in here who talk about real shit, not just complain about social media stuff or try and make fun of what? Anyway, I need more moderators. I think that's what it is. I got to add more moderators in here. I don't silence anybody. I believe in free speech, but I silence bums. Denon, thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you for being a member, bro. Thank you, Galactus. And I missed your super chat, Galactus. I'm sorry. I couldn't get to it. It disappeared on me. But thank you for muting that clown. Denon, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, do we, how, bro, how, it's orange. I can't, bro, how do we NIL an ultra kicker? I'll pay up my kids' ED for it right now. LOLJK. I don't know what that means, Denon. I don't know what paying up your kids' kids' education for it right now. Dude, they don't need college anyway. Nebraska needs it more than they need college, I promise you. Okay, we need to go and get one of the Illinois kickers. And we need to go and get a guy who's proven. It's going to take time, right? You gotta get a guy who, I guess, either he's from Australia or he's just a iron brain and he doesn't get phased by anything. The problem is there are a ton of talented kickers and you go and you look at them like, that guy's got a leg, but they've all got a leg. They're all accurate. It's just which one is going to be good? Which one is going to be composed? I don't know how you go and find one. It's crazy. Mike says, I'm curious how well we do on the road. That's a good question. Next week is going to be a test. You know, next week's a guarantee win in my book. If Nebraska would have won this game over Illinois, I could imagine a hangover. But the way that Nebraska lost to Michigan last year and then bounced back with a massive win over Illinois is what's going to happen next week against Purdue. So I think they're going to look just fine. Not worried about that. Tyler says, 24 of 35, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. The guy's a beast. Yeah, he's a true freshman putting up those numbers in his first Big Ten game. Dylan's a beast. Angry says Illinois is also in year 2. Here's the difference, Angry. Illinois was not rebuilding from a total mess like Nebraska was. Nebraska had deep-rooted issues that have gone back for years and years. Illinois back in 2020. Wait, Illinois is not in year 2. Illinois is in like year 5. I'm not even going to defend this. This doesn't make any sense. Illinois is in year 5. They were just playing against Michigan up until the wire when they were like a top 10 team in the country, and they ended up playing a big bowl game. Illinois is in year 5. That's sorry, guys. I had a slip. I'm believing what the chat says. Jacob, thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, my last one of the night. Some folks need to realize this isn't some video game. Games like CFB 25 make folks think games are easy to win when in the real world, winning is effing hard, and we're still learning GBR. Man, that was profound. You know, I look at my own life. How am I doing in my own life? And then how am I going to go and criticize somebody else? I got my own issues to work out. So if I'm not at where I want to be, how can I blame Nebraska football for what they're doing? And you know what the craziest part is? Most people who are complaining about football teams not winning games, most of them are down tremendous. They are not doing shit in their own life. They are living bottom of the barrel. And I'm not talking about just financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They are messed up. And they're over here talking about Matt Rule and Nebraska and Dylan. It's funny. It's easy to critique the other person, but be careful what you say when you're living in a glass house. It's hard to win in the real world. And yeah, I am a testament to that. It is hard to win. And the same thing goes on the football field. There will only be one winner. Thank you, Jacob, for being with us tonight. I appreciate you. David, thank you for the $10 super chat. Just finished watching a recording of the game. I'm in Dallas for a health coach conference. Defense has some work to do. They seemed slower tonight. They seemed slower, out of position. They didn't seem like black shirts. They didn't seem like the Tony White defense that we've all grown to love. They didn't seem like they had that edge to them that they've had for however many games in a row ever since the Michigan loss. And I think that was the most shocking part of the day. My chat's frozen. Give me a second. Sam, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, we beat Colorado bad. Hopefully this is the game that humbles the team. I promise you this game will humble the team. It'll humble the fan base. It's going to humble a lot of people. And you know, it's going to make a lot of people who are haters happy. A lot of people who are going to make comments. We're going to be like, Nebraska sucks. See, I told you. They aren't any good. I've already got the text in my phone. Yep, we're up to 24 messages now. We got a lot more coming in. I'm telling you. The hate's coming. I'm just a fan. But when you go on social media, I'm sure it's going to be up there too. We're all going to hear it. I'm getting to the chats. 1 second. I had to scroll to the bottom. My bad. I've been so congested with this little sickness. Christian, thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, hindsight's 2020. Love you all. Roll Purdue GBR. That's it. Thank you for the support, brother. Next week's going to be a different week. We're excited for it. Chaz, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Honestly, if we had to lose, it being against a top 25 in OT, honestly, is the best case scenario. Losing early exposes issues we can resolve early in the season versus late. Chaz with the common sense, brilliant comment of the night. Look at Chaz. Man, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's like kind of the main takeaway I'll have in my video this week. Chaz, I'm taking a picture of this. Taking a picture so I don't forget, Chaz, because I'm going to use this. You're pulling inspiration from me. You're giving it to me. I'm pulling it from you. Julie said it's not worth engaging with the trolls. Julie, sometimes it's fun to engage with the trolls. Sometimes it's fun to sun the trolls because the trolls are literal trolls. They're ugly. They're decrepit. They're messed up. They got issues in life. And just burying a dude who is already down on his luck and down bad, it feels so good, you know? Sometimes burying trolls, you just got to do it. Nick, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, all that matters now is how they respond next week. I agree with that. Rule will have his big red bully team. I'm all on board with this staff and team. Our red burns brighter. And that's that. We've seen Rule's team respond before, and I'm a big believer in them doing it again. You watched last year. They lost bad to Michigan. They bounced back strong after. Obviously, that team didn't have the firepower that this one does, but I expect this loss to catapult them. It will humble them. It will give them some new perspective, and it will open their eyes to how they can be better. I'm really appreciative. Sounds so stupid. I'm appreciative of the low moments and of the losses, because when you lose and when you fail, that's when you have an opportunity to grow. I mean, every billionaire, every millionaire will tell you that. They didn't make all their money and become extremely successful because they won all the time. They became successful because their losses taught them. They were able to learn from their down moments and lowest points, and it ended up turning them into who they wanted to be. And I'm hoping that Nebraska has that same growth period. Jose says, I don't know how we beat Purdue on the road. Our line can't match Big Ten play, but Raiola is a badass. He can win it. Yeah, watch Purdue against Notre Dame last week, and that's how you beat Purdue. Purdue is the worst or second worst team in the Big Ten, and Illinois is a totally different beast than Purdue is. Huskers, thank you for the $5 super chat. Just got home from the game. Not sure who invited all the quiet NU fans tonight, but it was a joke. Stay home and let fans who cheer go to the game. I think, it's tough. Nebraska fans had all of this emotion and momentum and excitement because of the last 3 weeks, and their expectations were too high. And I assumed this would be a 4-quarter battle. I thought Nebraska would win by 10, but I did think it'd be a 4-quarter battle. And I think a lot of people were surprised and shocked to see Nebraska in a shootout and in a situation where they weren't leading, where they weren't rolling, and they didn't want to get up and excited for that reason. I think it's like, they felt like, I'm going to sit back and wait until Nebraska's, rolling, and then I'm going to start cheering again. I don't agree with it. I think it's dumb. I agree with you. If you want to be at the game, let's give it our best. But yeah, fans have an opportunity to make a big impact, and I didn't hear the fans tonight, so I can't comment on it really. I'm watching on TV is just, it's tough, Kyle says, don't rely on local guys for kicking anymore. Hit the portal for one hard. I don't know how many guys are in the portal that can kick. Like, I don't know how many options there are, and that's a really tough thing to go after, So I don't know what the portal options are going to be. Angry Gen Zer, thank you for the $5 super chat. I can't open it. I don't know why. It won't let me open it. Sorry. Nathaniel says, missed opportunities in the deep shots Raiola takes. That's not his fault. Yeah, there were a lot of missed opportunities, man, with the deep shots for sure. And some of them are Raiola's fault, though. He needs to get the ball into better positions. He had some bad balls tonight. He had some thrown behind guys, and you wish he could have had some back because Nebraska missed a couple touchdowns or at least a couple first downs if he would have had better ball placement or read it earlier. Mike, thank you for the $10 super chat. In his vast coaching tree, does Rule have a proven special teams coach? I think this is his most proven one. Not saying he will be great, but we have the son of arguably the best kicker in school history on our roster with the name of Cook. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about the special teams. I don't know what Rule's thought's going to be on that. You would think this is a performance-based job. This year is kind of Foley's 1 year. And if it doesn't get fixed, do you blame the player or do you blame the coach? And it's not just the kicking, right? It's more than the kicking. It's the return game. And yeah, you've seen positives and you've seen negatives on the special team side. It's like we saw punt blocks, punt blocks. We've seen field goal blocks. We've seen major kicks. Alvano's made a 55-yarder. Last year he did it against Purdue, right? In that same game, the field goal unit blocked a field goal, or the field goal block unit blocked a field goal, returned it for a touchdown. So you've seen these moments. So at some point, the good or the bad outweighs the good, right? And I don't know at what point that is. It's tough. Michael says Frost would not have won this game. It would have been Illinois in a blowout. Facts. Heard a crazy story about Frost last night. Can't repeat it, obviously, unfortunately, but there are some crazy stories out there. Not bad. It's like not a bad story about him, but crazy. It was a former Oregon football player. Anyway, Denon, thank you for the $20 super chat. It has nothing to do with Nebraska football. I don't understand it. Angry Gen Zer, thank you for the $5 super chat. I was wrong. I thought Brett got there last year. Love your stuff. Okay, I thought you were trolling. My bad, Angry Gen Z. I just assumed you were trolling when you said that to try and like trigger people. But apparently you're a Corn Cray subscriber, not a random troll. I gotta be careful, Angry Gen Z. I gotta be careful because there are a lot of trolls who come to the chat. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them. I've seen them in here tonight. Galactus did a good job blocking people though. Galactus came to the rescue. When there's a lot of people who post a bunch of stuff that's just hating on, Nebraska or what we're talking about and just looking to incite a riot and incite a reaction, we got to delete them. I don't believe on silencing people. I don't believe in muting people because I believe in free speech. But if you annoy me or annoy my people, you're going to get kicked. But if you're not annoying and you're cool, like you can say whatever you want, talk shit, I'm cool with that. But just not over and over and over and over to bug me or bug other people. Honestly, some of the super chats are gone because I had all that spam get put in there, and then I couldn't get to the super chat fast enough since all that spam was coming. So that's why we gotta block some people. Chat scrolling again on me. I gotta go back up. Okay. Brody says, honestly, super disappointed, but I think this team needs to go through shit like this. Ultimately, it's going to make them better. Go big fucking red. And that's it. Like I just said 5 minutes ago, you have to fail in life to improve in life. You have to go through adversity to learn how to succeed in adversity. Nebraska has not gone through adversity yet with this team, and they finally did. And this is a lesson that they're going to carry with them for the rest of the season. And more importantly, they're going to carry it with them for the entire time they play at Nebraska. Dylan Raiola will look to this moment when he is playing against, who knows, USC in a similar situation in his 3rd year at Nebraska. Ja'Cory Barney on the outside, Dylan competing for a Heisman, the top 10 Nebraska team. And now he's like, I remember playing Illinois at home, and I remember my missed read or my bad ball behind the guy or whatever the situation was. And this moment is going to pay for the win that we get over a top 25 USC team 3 years from now or whoever it is, right? So, yes, I agree with that. GBFR, Brody. Jason says he doesn't feel like Illinois beat them. He feels like they beat themselves. I think at times Nebraska did beat themselves in the middle of the game, especially 3rd quarter. I think Nebraska beat themselves the entire way through. They gave up a ton of nonsense yards to Illinois that were essentially free plays, right? So I think in those moments, it felt like Nebraska lost the game. But at the end of the game, I do believe Illinois beat them. I think Illinois had a better game plan. I think they threw them off on offense at least. The Illinois defense came to play. And I think that's where I'm saying Illinois gets the credit in the win. But there were plenty of times where Nebraska gave it away. And I think it's equal parts. As much as Nebraska lost the games for themselves, Illinois won it for them. So respect Illinois. You know what I mean? I'm saying I'm respecting Illinois. I'm not telling you to respect them. You do whatever you want. But I have respect for Illinois after watching them play tonight. And a lot of the stuff I saw in their previous games against Kansas and Central Michigan, I really thought Nebraska would be able to have success stopping, or at least succeeding against. Wasn't the case. Matthew, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, can't stand these damn Iowa fans on Twitter right now. Yeah, I don't. I'm really good at avoiding Twitter and all the spammy and weirdo fans. Like, I don't know why people engage with them. If you engage with them or you look at all their stuff, then it continues to pop into your feed. I just don't see very much dumb stuff because I don't engage with it, you know? I talked about it last night. We had a really good live stream last night. We talked about so much. It was amazing. It was one of my favorite streams I've done so far this year. It was an hour and a half long. If you haven't watched it, it's entertaining. It's not just about the games today. It was about a bunch of stuff. But anyway, the stream last night, I talked about how I don't give attention to all the trolls and all that, and I gave you a bunch of reasons why. And one of the reasons is because if you don't engage with it, or if you don't post it, or you don't share it, people don't send it to you, then you'll never see it. And I wouldn't let those people cook my food. I don't eat at McDonald's. I don't eat at Wendy's. I don't eat at Burger King. I don't eat at any fast food place except for regularly like Chipotle. But I don't eat fast food because I care about what goes in my body, you know. Do what you want to do. But for me, you know, I've had my cancer issue and I had some other stuff pop up. So I'm like, a little paranoid. And I'm getting older. I'm 30 now. My metabolism slowed down. I got to eat right. Point is this. I would never let those people cook my food. I wouldn't even go into these people's houses. So why am I going to sit on Twitter and read their thoughts? I don't believe I'm going to stop there. I got so many things I could say. I got to chill. I don't want to offend people. Anyway, I don't see the stuff online because I don't engage with it. So I'm hoping that a lot of you in my chat don't do the same. You know, there are people who don't deserve my attention, and the trolls and the losers and the ones who are looking to cause problems, they fit the bill, and they don't deserve your time either. I have so much respect for your time, right? And that's why when I get on here and I make my videos, I care about all the editing and I care about my speaking, and I'll re-record something if it doesn't sound right. I take a very thorough note before I record anything to make sure I hit all of the bullet points. You know, I never mess up on stats or people's names. I know who I'm talking about. I mean, rarely, but I respect your time so much because I know you all have busy lives, busy days. You have families, you've got friends, you've got your work, your own hobbies, and you're giving me some of your time. I'm not going to come on here and say some nonsense that either triggers you or annoys you or makes you think, well, why is this guy burning up my valuable, most precious asset that I have, which is my time? And any of those people on Twitter who are saying things or Instagram and trolling you, that's all just people who are stealing from you, in my opinion. So like I said, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you for subscribing to me and giving it to me. And I would hope that you have the sense to avoid all of the negativity on Twitter. Long, drawn out response, but I just want you to know you don't have to see that stuff. I don't see it. Just stay away and it's all good. Carson says, I miss Ozigbo. I'm trying to get Ozigbo on the show. Ozigbo and I are DMing right now. I met him at the Nebraska game against Colorado. Met him. Actually, I saw him after the game on the field, and I saw him at the bar the night before the game. Super nice guy, and it sounds like he'll come on, so hopefully we can get him. He was a very good running back in Nebraska. Travis, thank you for the $5 super chat. This game made me pretty sad. I didn't buy into the 8.5 point Vegas line, but thought the defense would show up. Yeah, you know, there were points in the game early on where it felt like that 8.5 line made sense, you know? And in hindsight, it still makes sense if Nebraska wouldn't have completely broken in the second half and would have been able to keep up. But what were we missing on defense? Like, as fans, what did we not understand? And why tonight were we so thrown off and so surprised? The way they got out physical and got bullied up front, the way they looked confused and lost and gassed, those weren't that wasn't a reflection of the team that we've watched for the past year and a half. So it was such a surprise for a lot of us to see it. It was a painful thing to watch. Real Goose says that taunting the field goal kicker should have been called. And to be honest, is this a cold take? I like it. If Nebraska would have done it to their kicker, I would have liked it. You get in his head. It's a sport. I've got friends who played basketball, football, and they tell me all kinds of crazy stories. One story, I can't name players' names, but it's a Chicago Bulls player. He's up at the free throw line, and he's shooting, and a guy on the Milwaukee Bucks is next to him, and he starts yelling at him. Not yelling, but like talking crazy to him loud so he can hear it while he's shooting. And he's talking about basically flying out his wife. The most savage thing you could possibly say to another man. I mean, there is no like dirtier you could get than going after another dude's girl, right? And obviously that player missed his extra points. And I'm not saying that's the right thing or the wrong thing to do. I'm a moral person. But the point I'm trying to make is it changed the outcome of that NBA game, a very crucial game, an NBA playoff game. And that guy saying it to him knew if he got under his skin, whether it was true or not, it sounds like it was true, but whether it was true or not, it threw him off just enough to change the outcome of the game. And I think a lot of the sport, all of sports, is mental. And if you can find a way to get a mental edge, you should have the opportunity to do that. I think that's what makes sports fun. And tonight, that Illinois was at the corner, the safety, he starts pointing and laughing and talking to the field goal kicker, Hull. And it got in Hull's head. And for Hull to be an elite kicker, he needs to be able to fight through that. And he needs to be able to block out the noise. And what he needs to be able to do is look the guy in the face and say something back to him. Not crazy so the refs get involved. You don't want a crazy spat, but you want him to have the confidence to basically look at him and, I'm going to make the next one. And then to actually go out and make the next one, because the best kickers do that. You see stuff with the kickers in the NFL who mess with, I don't remember who it is. I think it's the kicker for the Ravens, Justin Tucker. And he messes with like Mahomes and just gets in his space, and they have a little chippy rivalry. And that's all emotional, right? It's to throw guys off of their game. I like it. It's sports. This is entertainment. And I get it. You want to be nice and, sportsmanship and all that. But at the same time, let's throw a little UFC or boxing in here. Let's not actual physical stuff, but, let's get under people's skin and let's see how guys respond, because it's more than just a physical game. A lot of it's mental. So I don't think they should have called that. Travis, thank you for, you already did this one. Thank you for the $5 super chat again. Doug, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, is it me, or did it seem like the O-line gave up in overtime? Appeared to look like a sieve, causing Raiola to panic. Yeah, they had the false start. Gunnar Tula, the backup left tackle, that cost them right there. And after the false start, they just missed blocks. Obviously, Illinois knew if we can put pressure on this dude, it's going to throw him off his game. And at that point, they broke him. And Dylan felt like he had to carry the team. And when he felt like he had to carry them, one sec. When Dylan felt like he had to carry them at the end of the game because it was second and 24, right? And then third and 20 something. No, it was second and 29, I think, third and 24. And it's like your back's against the wall. Dylan has to be the hero. So the O-line had to hold up as long as they could, but it's just, Yeah, O-line, they struggled tonight. RJC says, I'm a Pitt fan. Steve Peterson is to blame for your pain and ours. This year, Pitt looks legit, but our program has never recovered from demolishing Pitt Stadium. I loathe Steve Peterson. Steve Peterson was a pain for Nebraska. Wrong hires, right? Opoo says, I was at the game. I love that we have Pooh Bear in the chat. That's awesome. He's so cute. I was at the game, saw Illinois practice snapping, holding, and kicking, and our kickers were by themselves kicking with the little stands. How do you expect to have success if you don't practice right? I don't know. So if that is true, if what you're saying is true, I would feel the same way you do. What the hell are we doing? But they could say, well, you just walked up to your seat, and in the hour before you walked up to your seat, we were doing what Illinois was doing, so you missed it, right? So I don't know. I don't want to call them out because I didn't see it myself, and I don't know the whole story. But I agree with you. If I saw that, it would make me question it, and it would make me say, what the hell was that? So yeah, I get it. Understood. Frustrating. I think Nebraska is just having open tryouts for kicker. Yeah, the problem is you get a new kicker in there and it has nothing to do with leg strength, nothing to do with ability, and 100% to do with their mental. And you won't know a guy's mental until he's actually kicking a game-winning field goal like John Hull was tonight. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Capri says, leaving out Mazuka against a ranked team, and then we can't get the pushes we need on those 3rd and 2nd and 3rd and 1s. Yeah. I'm interested to know at what point did Mazuka come back in the game, because I thought he came back in like in the second half. I don't know the answer. I'm going to have to go and look. You know, there's a lot of research for me to do before I go and make my next video. It's going to have to wait. I fly out tomorrow morning to Phoenix. I'm going to be out in Old Town tomorrow night. I'm going to go to lunch in Old Town, dinner in Old Town, and then I'm going to go out in the little bar area in Old Town tomorrow night. And following that, I'm going to the Lions-Cardinals game on Sunday morning. Sunday evening, I fly home. So Monday, I'm going to be working on my video. And that is something that I'm going to have to talk about in my video. So let me take a picture of that, because that's additional research. Thank you, Capri Sun God. Capri Sun God, you're helping me out for my research. Flower says nothing like Pac-12 After Dark to help ease the pain. Pac-12 After Dark. We don't get that this week, huh? We don't get any After Dark games for us tonight. It's just go to bed sad. A lot of comments about Matt Rule and his body. Weird. Not sure what's going on there. David says Nebraska has now lost 25 consecutive games versus AP top 25 teams. So much pain. I agree with that. A lot of freaking pain. Jose, also not playing Emmett was a horrible decision. Oh man, not playing Emmett was painful. Not playing Emmett was painful because there were times when it felt like Emmett would have been a better situation than Dowdell was early on in the game. But at the same time, Dowdell got going later on in the game. I think Emmett's a really good running back, and now it's making me think Nebraska needs to rotate Dowdell a little bit more. I think they both can complement each other, and I just think when it took time for Dowdell to get rolling, if you changed it up and put Emmett back there, it might have helped. But at the same time, maybe you needed to keep Emmett out and leave Dowdell in the entire time to allow him to get rolling. I just think that breakaway speed with Emmett and his ability to find the hole on the inside and break it out, that's a game changer. So, yeah, I wish they would play Emmett more. I don't know. Everyone has their own opinion on that, right? Really quick, shout out to everyone tonight. We had a great night on Prize Picks. So, really quick, if you want to sign up for Prize Picks and play with us, you can download the app. Use the promo code CORN, just C-O-R-N, and you're going to get a $50 bonus after you play your first $5 lineup. So code CORN, and you can join us over there. So it was a push on this one. Only reason it was a push was because Ramir needed 4 more receiving yards. That would have paid us $200. This one right here would have. Painful. So we got our money back, but would have paid huge. On this one, we won $50. The kicker, Dowdell, Zachary Franklin. So that was big, $70 win. And on this one, we won $50. We won 6 legs. It was $10 to pay $50. That was great. On this one, we won 45. 15 paid 45. And then we had our big flex play. Which one was this one? Oh yeah, this was our flex play. It got refunded, but it's still alive. So I'm not sure why this got refunded. But this one's still alive. They might have refunded it because you get a refund automatically, but I'm not sure. This one's alive still. That's that. And then we have more alive for tomorrow. If we go and look at our lineups open, we have a $20 to pay $480. We hit the first 2 legs on that. We need Mullings, Orgy, Kyron Hudson, and Miller Moss to all go for more than their totals, and we'll win $480. We have this $12 flex play, which we need Jaquindon Jackson to go for 100 yards. Ramir was short 20 on his, so this will just be an even payout, I believe. No, we'll make money on this. We'll win $3 on this one as long as Jaquindon goes for over 100. And then we have this one. Is it alive? No. This one's going to be $4 back as long as these 3 hit. Regardless, we're in position with a few. This one for tomorrow, a 4-leg that pays 120. And then we had a couple more. Oh, we need Travis Hunter tomorrow. Travis Hunter to go for more than 72 yards receiving, and we win another 112. So fantastic day on Prize Picks. I mean, Prize Picks, huge. I won 250 on Prize Picks. No, I don't know, 200 something. I don't remember the math now that I just did it. Whatever. I won like $200 on Prize Picks. So far, we're going to win a lot more. We're going to win at least another 100 tomorrow. I promise you that, if not more. So big weekend on Prize Picks. You can sign up and join us there if you use the code CORN. $5 play gets you a $50 bonus, whether you win or not. And a bunch of us are in the Discord sharing our plays. I've got a ton of winners who people sent me tonight. So at least we won on Prize Picks. That's the one good sign. Let's see. Sean, you said, can you do the Sean Nelson question before you get off your video? Let me find the Sean Nelson question really quick. My chat just reloaded, so I've got some more. Okay. So I've got one from Christian. He says, what's your favorite beer, Connor? Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you for being a member, Christian. My favorite beer, typically, I'm drinking Miller Lite. That's just what I have at the casinos. I rarely drink beer. I like Stella. If I'm at like a bar and I'm with friends, I'll drink a Stella. But Miller Lite in Vegas at the casinos is a go-to for me in the bottle. I'm trying to think. In Kenya, I had one called Tusker. Or no, Kenya was Lion, I think. Or no, Sri Lanka was Lion. Tusker was Kenya. Those are two of the best beers I've ever had in my life. They came in big bowling balls. They're huge. So I drink a lot of those. But yeah, I'd say Miller Lite, Stella. And I like, I like lighter beers. I'm not an IPA guy. Jacob, thank you for the $5 super chat. Wait, I got you on this one already, right? Yes. Okay. Trying to get through them all. Scott, thank you for the $5 super chat. If I see a comment, I'll respond to it. I'm going through them all trying to find what I missed. Dang. Who was it that asked me to do it? Was it Jeff? I can't find another one. Angry Gen Zer, this game by itself isn't that bad. It's all just a history of close losses that makes it worse. I agree with that. It's that we've seen the movie before and it feels like it's just the same shit over and over and over. Let's see. I don't know what this thing is. This guy keeps saying 25, no 25 answer. What's the trolling here? I don't understand. 25, no answer. 25, no answer. $25, 3 chats, no answer. Dude, Losswort, I can't respond to every chat because the problem is so many of them go. I didn't ignore you, Losswort. I responded to your first super chat and I didn't get the next one. He says, you're going to answer my question. Okay, Losswort, I can't see it because I got to scroll all the way to the very top. And my thing doesn't load for me. I'm going to go back through it all for you. I'm trying my best to get to all the super chats. It's really hard. Galactus, thank you for being a member for 23 months. He said you're going to want to score 150 now. Feel bad for Purdue. Yeah, Purdue's going to pay next week for sure. I'm trying to find your super chat now. Logan, thank you for the $2 super chat. Would you like to have seen Harburg play at all? Harburg did play, but I would have liked to see Harburg play more. You know what I mean? And I think Harburg's trying to find a role in the offense, right? So it's tough. Let's see. Yeah, I'm maxed out on my super chat scrolling. Angry, bang bang. Scott, okay, bang bang. Losworth, I can't find your super chat, so thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you for supporting. Can you please add your comment and question in, and I'm going to respond to it right now. I know I responded to your to one of your super chats, so I try my best, I promise you. But send me your question right here, and I'm going to respond to it. Here's the thing, guys. I do my best. Jose says, ask the question for him since he's incompetent. He's not incompetent. I'm sure the guy had a question. He wants to get it answered, which I totally respect. It's my responsibility, guys, to answer all of your super chats. And when I miss them, I'm really sorry. Like, I appreciate you guys supporting me so much. We had over 1,000 people in the chat, and it was a really fast scroll. And unfortunately, a lot of people come to my channel to see my initial thoughts. So sometimes when people super chat at the beginning, when the chat's rolling really quickly, it's hard for me to respond to every single super chat. You know what I mean? Like they get stuck. So Lossworth, ask me. Anyone, ask me a question. If I miss your super chat, let me know. I'll always respond to you. And you guys know I'm super appreciative of all your donations and support. You guys drive the channel. Without your guys' support, without the super chats, without the memberships, without the views, I don't do this. I can't afford to. So thank you for supporting me, and I'm trying my best. That's it. Yeah, I'm doing my best. But I don't see any lost work things, so I can't respond to it. But I am responding to comments. If you got comments that are in here, I'm responding to them. I'm on here for an hour and a half at this point, and I'm not getting off until you guys want me to. I'm here for you. I'm on here for 2 hours. Like, I'm grinding, I promise. Here we go. Lost work. Thank you for giving me a second chance. I appreciate you, brother. You're the man. If you have possession of the ball and you cross the end zone, is it a tutty or no? This is a great freaking question. And this is a question that I had pop up on my phone 4 times tonight when that happened. I saw it. It was like in all my DM requests. Guys who've never DM'd me before, they were extremely interested in this. I am under the impression, and I have seen it in NFL before, but never in college, that you have to maintain possession as you go down to have it be considered a catch. It doesn't matter if it's across the goal line or what the situation is or the first down line. You have to maintain. Nayor never maintained. He had possession at one point, but you have to maintain while you hit the ball, or when you go to the ground or you go out of bounds, and he didn't do that. And so because there wasn't possession, I automatically assumed, no, that's not a catch. The guy intercepted it. And I think the rule should be written that way. I like that rule that way, because if Nebraska was on the receiving end of that same rule, it would have made sense to me that they didn't get to keep the ball, or that they did get to keep the ball and the other team didn't get to. So that was confusing for a lot of people. I know that the play-by-play guys were talking to whoever was in the studio. I can't remember that guy's name, but they were talking to him, and he said, no, well, technically the rule says this, and they're the plane. And the bottom line is, I think the rule, no matter how it's written, should be what we witnessed tonight. And unfortunately, that corner, or the safety, I can't remember who it was. Was it Cox? It was Cox. Cox had a fantastic play, and Nayor had a bad play. Nayor got beat in that moment. So shout out Cox, man. There's some points where Illinois just had great plays, man. You know, I mean, Illinois, they were a good football team. That's why, yes, they are not amazing. They are not a top 10 team, I don't believe. They could be. I don't believe they are, but they're good at football. Galactus says, no, you have to maintain possession through the football play. Okay, there you go. Scott says, go Cardinals. Diehard Husker and Cards fan. Enjoy the game. Cardinal or Lions fan. My best friend's dad is on the coaching staff with the Lions. So I'm a Lions fan the last 2 years. However, my best friend's dad was also with the Cardinals for like 15 years before that. So it's funny. It's like a conflicting game. It's a big homecoming reunion for him. There'll be a lot of people there from their family. So we're all in on the Lions. I've got all my Lions gear, tons of it. But they have a connection with the Cardinals as well, since obviously he went to the Super Bowl with the Cardinals. I mean, he's had, the Cardinals deal going on forever. My best friend Jacob's from Phoenix, and yeah, it'll be an exciting game no matter what. We'll be on the field before the game. That'll be exciting, and I'm pumped to go out in Phoenix tomorrow night in Scottsdale, and I'm gonna see a few friends, and it's gonna be fun. So that's that. Barf says the sun will rise tomorrow. That's it. Daryl says there are a lot of trolls that spam the feed. It's hard to keep up. I'm going to add a couple more moderators this week. Adding moderators on YouTube is really annoying. YouTube makes it really tough. So there are a few people who I tried to add and I couldn't. It just refused to let me. So I have to go back and retry a second time. Maybe it'll work. And I need to get people to moderate, because the spamming is what we can't have. The spamming ruins chat. If you send one message to me, and it's a hateful message or whatever, I'm cool with it. But if you send 10 messages just because you want to annoy me, or you want me to read it, or you want my audience to react to it, that can't happen. So we're going to get those slowed down to help the chat. We're trying to improve on the show. We're trying to do our best. This is our first big live stream of the season, So yeah, Nathan says sacks tonight. Nebraska had 3, but they could have had more. You would have wished. Slippery quarterback, good QB play. $5 just because. Thanks, Connor. Thank you, Mose. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you a ton. Uncle Rico said, did anyone lose a lot of money on this game? So I'll tell you my situation. I had like probably 300 on Nebraska. I lost that. I had probably 300 on props total. I won that. Then I had another bunch on prize picks. You guys saw I won a bunch there. So I ended up net positive. I told you my dad lost 600, but he'll win 600 or he'll win 1,000 on USC on Saturday. So he has enough of big winning days to cover for his loss tonight. A few of my other friends had some winning prize picks. One of my friends took Luke Altmaier under on prize picks. So he lost his like $500 play, which I was like, why are you taking the under? I told you Luke Altmaier over was a lock, but whatever, it's his issue. I know that a lot of people on Brothrow took Nebraska spread from our Corn Craze group. So a lot of people lost. But I don't know how much people are betting. You know, I don't know what people's unit sizes are. I know there are a lot of $25, $50 bettors out there. I don't know if anyone got hammered. But, you know, I got hammered at a point. I came back with the props. The prize picks really saved me. So, you know, is what it is. Unbiased says he stepped, had control, but he didn't maintain it. That's the thing. It's the maintaining. Gratharam. I'm doing me. I appreciate you for supporting. A lot of people agree with me on the call on what we think it should be when you have possession. A lot of people are in agreement. Deontay says the energy was gone in the fourth. Yeah, they were just dead. They were defeated. The fan base was kind of over it. It just felt like it was done. It sucked. Any conversations about Dylan's in a transfer is just, come on. That's insanity. He would never transfer. Like it'd have to be so down bad for him to transfer. Nebraska's in a great position. It's like not even something we would entertain. You know what I mean? Let's see. If you want to be a mod, I see a few people are asking to be a mod. Message me on Discord. That's where we have all of our moderators. Message me there and I can manage it from there. So message me on Discord and we can go from there if you want to be a mod. Nathan says he's hammered because he took money line. Oof. I think you had to pay like 3x, right? $30 only paid 10. That's tough. TJ says Altmaier got the ball out pretty quick tonight. Why don't we press to take away the easy passes? Were we afraid to get burnt long? Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think Nebraska was questioning their secondary. Altmaier's got an arm, and he has some good receivers, and I think they were afraid to put a lot of pressure. That's a part of it. Doug, thank you for the $2 super chat. Best comment of the night. He lost his 4K payout from the $100 bet. Doug, all Doug needed was for Nebraska to be 8-0. They needed to beat Ohio State, and he would have turned 100 into like $4,000. Doug, it's painful. Give me your last $2. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the support. That is so funny. I was riding for you. I wanted it so bad. I felt like we'd still be on track after the next couple of weeks, man. I'm sorry. The opportunity to hedge against Ohio State didn't work. Mose, he says, do you have any merch left? Okay, Mose, thank you for the $2 super chat. And yes, I have some merch left. If you want merch, you can DM me on Instagram, hit me up on Discord, or email me, and I can tell you what I have in my inventory. I have t-shirts. I'm running low on hoodies. I have a few hoodies left, basically, is what I'm rolling with. People have DM'd me over the past couple weeks, and I've been selling them. I was selling them for like $60, including shipping, back when I had the website up. Now I'm selling them for $45 a piece, the hoodies, and the t-shirts I'm selling for like $25 each. I'm paying for the shipping myself. So because we're not doing it on the website anymore. So yeah, if you want merch, hit me up. I'll tell you what I have left in stock. I'm just low on sizes. I'm low on stuff. I'm down to my last few pieces. So anybody who wants it, got to message me and I can get you merch. But I'm not doing merch this year because I made a significant investment in another business, and to do merch cost me like 40 grand the first time I did it. So yeah, it just takes a lot of capital up front, and it's a lot to manage. If you don't have enough of a following, like for me to make the merch business work, it'd be two things. Number one, I would need to either have twice as many subscribers who are going to buy all my merch, and I'm going to sell out in one season, which I almost did, but I didn't completely sell out. The other thing that would need to happen is I need someone to fulfill it for me, and right now I don't have the money in the merch to fulfill it because I don't have enough orders to make enough profit for it to be worth it. So those two things are holding me back. And then, when we're talking about, $40,000, I can put that into something else. So if I'm going to spend that much money, it needs to really have a return. And Yeah, the merch game, it's good and it's made money, but you know, my time is really valuable during the football season because of how much content I put out and how much time I spend on this channel. I just need to make sure that I'm utilizing my time and money the right way so I can afford to do it while we're still building it up. Denon, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, and thank you for getting me the hotel when I came to the Colorado game. And thank you for helping me set up my live stream because none of this would be possible without you. And thank you for getting my equipment locked in. And thank you for everything you've done for the channel because in 2022, when you first reached out to me and said you would help me, I was completely lost and didn't know how to build it up, didn't know how to do the production, and it would never be at the point where it was today without you. I mean, it could have been. I would have just spent a lot of money, and you saved me a ton of money by just being a good dude and wanting to help me and wanting to help our community by getting good content out there with proper equipment, proper production, and me not having a headache. So Denon, thank you. My son's team won their first game with a new head coach tonight. Some people have more to life than just Husker football losses in overtime. Denon had a W on the night. Denon had a W. Denon, I'm glad somebody leaves tonight with a W. I'm happy for you. Happy for your son. Happy for the new head coach. What a stud. I don't know what sport we're talking about. I'm guessing it's football because it's football season. Could be baseball. But yeah, nice job. Nice job, Denon and Denon's son. Let's see. Mikey says, I want to see Connor do a dynasty playthrough in CFB to see how we rebuild Nebraska. Yeah, if I had time, I'd do it. Maybe in the offseason, that's something I could do. That's what we're doing. In offseason, I'm doing a dynasty playthrough. Thank you. Content idea. I would play online. Like, I'll play online and stream that if you guys want. Not tonight, but a different night. I love playing online, and I'm actually pretty good. I could do online play on stream if you guys want to watch that. I'm good at playing with Nebraska. I really, really know how to work the field with Dylan. We got some good receivers in that game. But I've never done a dynasty on CFB. It's time consuming, and I'm telling you, I got a lot of shit going on. I don't have time to be sitting there for hours playing a video game that doesn't pay me. Pretty Sarah says, they ran the same bootleg. Thank you for being a member of the channel. They ran the same bootleg over and over and exposed us. Will other Big Ten teams use this against us knowing we couldn't stop it tonight? Yeah, you would think that teams are going to look at this and say, well, this is how you stop Nebraska. But the beauty is, like I said earlier in the stream, Nebraska will take what they learned tonight and they will apply it going forward, which means we should likely see some changes coming. We should likely see some guys who are going to perform better in this situation if we see it again. And I'm confident that Tony White is a coach who will get it corrected. I'm confident that the players on defense are smart enough and have the will and energy, excitement in them to figure out a way to improve daily. And yeah, although teams will try it, many will not succeed because Nebraska will improve. Carson, he says, I think 6-1 going into Ohio State. I'm hoping, and my hopes are high. Those are high hopes, but 6-1 does still feel like it's on the table, right? You got to beat Purdue next week, who sucks. You got to beat Rutgers, good team, but at least it's at home. Got to beat Indiana on the road. They could be in that same bracket as Illinois, but it's yet to be determined. We got to see them play a better team. So we'll have to see. We got bootlegged into oblivion. It was tough, man. Luke Altmaier's really good, but we made him look way better than he really is. Yeah, the secondary. And the receivers they have, though, make him look good, too. The receivers really got into space. Kyle says Nebraska needs to juice up. Steroids and other stuff. It's pretty funny. Carson says, I actually met Dylan in Omaha during the College World Series. He didn't say anything to me. He just nodded when I asked for a picture. It's okay, bro. I met Dylan a couple times. I met Dylan at the national championship when Georgia and TCU were playing. He was cool. Dayton took a picture of he and I, posted it on Twitter, got like 100,000 views. And I told him I hope he comes to Nebraska, obviously. He was nice. And then I saw him again last year at the Michigan game. We were in the tunnel. And I talked to him in Dayton again. He was nice again, so I don't know. I have positive things to say about Dylan. That kid's a stud, and he handles himself like a pro. I hope the best for him. And I really, really, really want him to succeed at Nebraska. Matthew says he still has the 400 sellout ticket. He DM'd me on Facebook. All right, I'll respond to you, brother. Dylan will be in the portal is hilarious. What are we talking about? Judy says, don't start the political shit. This is a Husker channel. Who's talking about politics in the chat? We're getting political in here? This is crazy. I didn't even see it. I see people getting muted by Galactus. We got the moderators stepping in to make sure there's no nonsense. It's freaking 12:45 over there in Nebraska, Judy. Don't you live in Iowa? Judy, what time? What is bedtime? Come on. Judy, that is crazy you're staying up this late. Deontay says he's going to get a dub tomorrow, 11 a.m. against Marshall. Are you talking about on Dynasty on College Football 2025? Or are you talking about you bet on Ohio State minus 39.5? Nathan says, I'm a very cynical dude, but the team looks like 9 to 10 wins the next 2 years. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be positive about. There's a lot to look forward to. I'll tell you that. Jacob, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for being a member. On the bright side, tomorrow is a stress-free play video games and watch football Saturday. Yeah, that is the case for many of you, and I'm so happy it is. I would love to sit home and watch football and play video games tomorrow, but it's not on my agenda. I'm sacrificing a college football Saturday to travel to an NFL game, which is painful to do. I'm only doing it twice this year, but there are a lot of good games on tomorrow that I'm not going to be able to watch. You get to watch USC Michigan. You're so lucky. That's the one I want to watch. USC Michigan is going to be a battle. I've got so many bets out tomorrow, so many prize picks, so many straight bets. I'm pumped. Guys, it's 12:45 at Judy's house. It's 10:45 at my house. I still have to pack. I still have to eat dinner. I've got salmon I've got to go and reheat with some green beans. And I got to fill up my water jug because my voice is going out. I've got to take my magnesium so I can sleep tonight. I've got stuff to do. I haven't taken a shower yet. I haven't packed. It's just, this is crazy. Nebraska football's kept me up late. So with all of that said, I appreciate you a ton. I appreciate you for sticking by this team, for sticking by me. I appreciate you for showing up and supporting when I need you because, you know, to run this channel, I need your guys' support. It helps me a ton when you hit the like button, when you leave a comment, when you engage in the chat. Nathaniel, I'm going to the Lions and Cardinals game tomorrow. And, yeah. LR22 says 10:45 dinner. What are we doing, Connor? Dude, I ate a salad at halftime, fire salad from Trader Joe's, the dill pickle one, and then it's the avocado one, actually, not the dill pickle. It's the avocado one. There's some avocado, some chicken in it. Ate that at halftime. Wasn't hungry before the stream. Had to pop on anyway. Didn't have time. I was super emotional. When I get emotional and sweaty at the end of a game, I don't have an appetite, so had to just pop over here and record. And now I got to go and eat something because I'm hungry. But anyway, with all of that said, thank you for being here. I'm going to see you in the next one, which will be on Monday. I hope you're in my live streams going forward because it's going to be fun for the rest of the season. I'm doing my best to create good, exciting content that gets us through here, no matter whether Nebraska wins 4 games, 8 games, or 12, 11 games. You know what I mean? I'm here for entertainment. So, yeah, until next time, go Big Red.